in a week where Paris Saint-Germain broke the transfer world record for Neymar, Philippe Coutinho has handed in a transfer request at Liverpool, and Super Ched Evans made his triumphant return to Sheffield United. Your boys are back for another episode of Not Another Football Podcast.
Afternoon.
How we doing?
Afternoon. I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. You know what I mean? Grinding along, listening to criticism, listening to dirt sheets, football freaking podcasts, Sky Sports blow up over silly things. Silly things.
Speaking of Sky Sports blowing up, as we were off air before we started recording, Philippe Coutinho, after Fenway Sports did a statement on the Liverpool website stating that Coutinho is not going anywhere. Philippe Coutinho this morning has handed in a transfer request at Liverpool. So is this another example of the player and the agent being above the club and trying to force through a transfer when the club has said you're not going nowhere?
Well, the thing is, right, as we were talking, funny enough, I'm going to give this guy a shout out because this guy for me is he's like an ambassador of Kwan for me when it comes to Liverpool football news. Mr. Dunk Oldham at coptalk.com. Fucking love this man. He's such a knowledgeable guy, but he's legit in terms of he won't post something, right, unless he thinks it's come from a credible source.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very, very intelligent dude. And what I've just seen pop up now is he's just posted something. LFC insist that as yet they have not received a formal transfer request from Philippe Coutinho. Okay, and that's come from LFC's website. So I don't know, man.
Yes, it's just come up now. Press Association. Liverpool deny reports Coutinho has to leave. It's good having Sky Sports News in background while we're recording.
You know, for me personally, you know where I stand on it. I mean, I look. I'm not gonna slate the lad, and I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? He's a great player, great talent. But for me, when I look at the way Liverpool is laid out, it's a 4-3-3 formation Jurgen Klopp likes to play. So that's two pacey guys on the flanks and a number 9, which is Firmino. Okay, so you've got Mane, Salah. That for me is where he's going to start. Then he's got his middle 3. Coutinho for me isn't a central midfielder. He's not a defensive-minded player.
For me, Coutinho, a lot of your Barcelona are touting him as the replacement for Neymar. But for me, Coutinho would be a replacement for Iniesta.
I don't know.
He plays like an Iniesta. He's like a Scholes. He's not a midfielder. Well, he's the modern attacking midfielder, where he's not got an actual bang-on position. He's not a winger. He's not a central. He's not an advanced. He's like a Scholes. He'll float between the midfield and your front. And he'll always be there, kind of linking up play, being the old-fashioned. You know, like the old-fashioned when you were a playmaker.
He's hell of a ball player.
Yeah,
he's hell of a ball player.
Yeah, that's it. He's a playmaker. He's the old-fashioned playmaker. Yeah. Back in the day, before you had your attacking midfielders and your forward players, you were a midfielder or a striker. And if you weren't neither one of them, you were a playmaker. So you linked it up between the two.
I just look at the big picture and I think 138 games for Liverpool, 34 goal return. Okay. That's not I'm not too sure on his assists, but for me, a guy being chased with that sort of money, you know what I mean? I look at what he's given us in the long run, and I don't see why everyone seems to be like, oh yeah, he's our player, he's not going anywhere. I'm like Dunk Oldham with this. I get sick of hearing people, oh, he's not for sale. He fucking is for sale. Every player is for sale. Everyone has a price. Everyone. You cannot stop the wheels of motion. And the only person that will decide whether he stays or goes is the player. If the club choose to make him stay, then all you do is risk the morale of the team. Do you let him fade away in the background? But then by doing that, all you do is you devalue the player. The next season, I think 100 million for Philippe Coutinho is a gimme, and
you'd be daft to turn it down. Daft.
Oh, I think so.
Absolutely.
I think so. I don't. You know, if it's the case of freaking we can get all that freaking money and fucking reinvest it, personally, I would take 50 million quid off Barcelona, and I would take 2 players for him. I would take Ivan Rakitic, who apparently is surplus to requirements, and Mario Suarez is a good player.
No, I tell you who I'd ask for. Sergio Roberto.
Yeah, the defender.
Yeah,
well, he can play anyway. He's versatile as.
That's it. I think in a couple of years he's going to be one of the best players in the league.
And I, you know what I mean? You're being touted at around 30 million quid for him.
Yeah.
Snap him up.
Exactly. 50 million cash and gives a couple of players.
I just don't see why we're messing around with this whole Coutinho thing. I mean, I can see why people are getting, you know what I mean, wound up about it. Me personally, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. We've seen it with Suarez. If Barcelona want someone, they're going to get him.
Well, and especially if you've got a player who has gone on record, and granted he's only signed a new contract in January, so that is, you'd like to think he has committed his long-term future to Liverpool, but it is like any player. When a team like Barcelona comes sniffing around, my God, it's hard to say no. It's hard to say no. You're playing with the best players in the world, guaranteed Champions League football every single year. Guaranteed you'll be fighting for league honours.
Well, it is, isn't it? It is. It is guaranteed. It is guaranteed freaking Champions League football. I mean, personally, I used to be a massive mark for, you know, La Liga. Over the last few years, I just think it's declined a hell of a lot. It's Barcelona. It's a draw.
That's it. It's the same with Real Madrid. If you're a player and Real Madrid come in for you, doesn't matter how committed to your club you are, it's Real fucking Madrid.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Man United. And it is the same with Man United. Man United are that much of a draw of a name. Why do you think they could pull in players last season when they weren't even in the fucking Champions League? Because it's a draw.
I think the thing that's obviously scaring Liverpool fans is the fact that there's been minimal activity. And obviously Liverpool fans are on this... the fucking anti-fucking FSG fans, they do my fucking tits in. You know what I mean? Let's kick the fucking owners out. Yeah, freaking that's gonna freaking bode well, isn't it? You know, it's the case of, because we haven't had that much activity, they see us selling as a key player from last season as it's scary. Do you know what I mean? It scares them, man. It scares me. But in all honesty, does it? I'm gonna be a Liverpool fan for the rest of my life.
Everyone's replaceable.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not. That type of shit doesn't bother me. Do you know what I mean? Legends come and go. Legends come and go. Everyone's got to retire, or if they can have a Steven Gerrard career, a Jamie Carragher career. You know, fucking, I'm going to mention it. Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes. If they can spend their whole careers at a club and retire, you've had a freaking dedicated for the passion of footballers that believe in the badge no longer exists.
Oh, of course not. Money and agents, because the more money. Well, look at let's park the bus on Countinho and move on to Neymar.
Yeah.
So Neymar's moved for £198 million or million euros or whatever bollocks it is. How much has that fucking agent made out of that deal?
I don't fucking know.
Millions.
I think,
millions.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The worst thing about it for me is the fact that Neymar has tried to make himself, since he's done that deal, he's tried to make it sound as if he's done nothing wrong. And to me, he engineered the whole fucking thing. The whole thing was being negotiated behind closed doors. And Southampton have got the cheek to say Liverpool freaking tapped up fucking Van Dijk. What?
You can, with Neymar, though, I can understand his logic, because he's come out and said that it's not about money, which is bullshit.
It's a challenge, isn't it? It's about being challenged.
It's the challenge, and he said he wants to win the Ballon d'Or. And to be fair on him, when you carry on playing in a team with Messi, where Messi is the man, I mean, you ain't ever going to be picked ahead of Messi to win something like the Ballon d'Or. So why not go to France, and why not, let's see, you never know, Neymar may fucking absolutely tear it to bits and be on 50 goals by fucking February.
He's the shoe shine boy, isn't he, Lionel Messi? You know what I mean? Everyone lines up to shine his shoes. Personally, I think the best player at freaking Barcelona is Luis Suarez. Personally, but who am I to say that?
Well, Luis Suarez has always proven, and I've always said this, he's proven that no matter wherever he plays, he's an out-and-out number 9, and he does the job of an out-and-out number 9. He scores goals. Awesome. He's a striker. You know what I mean? Lionel Messi's never been a striker. Lionel Messi's another one, like we said with Coutinho. He's not actually got a position, but he's always first name on team sheet.
I just don't see his thinking. You know what I mean? He says about the new challenge, right? The new challenge. He's going to a division which is shit.
Well, there's 2 teams that contest for title.
fucking crap. Two teams with very, very deep pockets. And you don't get no more deeper than paying like 200 freaking million for a player.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And it was just, there was no thought or haggling in it. Do you know what I mean? There was no negotiation on the fee. It was a case of, you want this, we'll pay it.
Well, that's it.
You know?
What's his release clause? This is release clause. No problem. We'll have money in your bank this afternoon.
You know? They
And
weren't affected.
Well, that's all the fuss.
They weren't affected by
all the bollocks that's come out of the back of it. It's like he's only got clearance this morning to play tomorrow.
Yeah, against Winnegam.
Yeah, because they were more concerned about getting the money in the bank account than actually getting the relevant paperwork to the FFF.
Well, I mean, I actually read that it was a case of the way they negotiated it was Neymar's lawyers that had to deal with it, because apparently the La Liga wouldn't, the Spanish authorities wouldn't authorize the money because they didn't know where it came from.
Yeah.
So because it was Neymar's representatives that did the deal, it was basically Neymar's money.
Yeah.
What? Are you serious?
Oh, we've got another update. A member of Coutinho's family tells Sky Sports News, Philippe has tried very hard to find an amicable solution, but to no avail. He has tremendous love for the club and fans, but as Steven Gerrard and Luis Suarez have, I'm waiting for it to catch up, have pointed out, it's gone to advert break!
Fuck's sake.
Basically, I imagine that's going to be, as Luis Suarez and Steven Gerrard have pointed out, sometimes loyalty to the club is not given the same way.
It doesn't. Like I say, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't hinder me at all. We know we're going to get a decent, substantial amount of money for it. Do you know what I mean? And the way I see it is, if he's handed in a transfer request, then Liverpool just need to play hardball on the fee.
Yeah.
You know, we want 130 million. You're going to give us 130 million. Whether you want to give us 90 million in cash and the rest in players, that's we'll leave that with you. You just got to play hardball. You've got a fee. Get that fee.
Well,
and the way I see it is, whether he's handed in a transfer request or not, right? We'll see how much Barcelona want him then. Yeah. Because if Liverpool want that fee, it's down to Barcelona to prove that they want the player. If they don't want the player, Philippe Coutinho will be a Liverpool player next season.
Obviously, last week we predicted and looked into the opening weekend of the Championship. Obviously, that's now come and gone. It was great to have the football back. I was one of the 26,000 in attendance at Bramall Lane. It was great to have the season back, and it was just great to be back watching a football match. And then I went on Wednesday. I went to go again to Bramall Lane to watch the first round of the League Cup when we played Walsall. Decent game. The terrible is like 5,000 people there. It was like a reserve atmosphere. But we saw the mighty Ched Evans back to reclaim what was taken away from him by a tramp. And I firmly believe by that. I don't care who's listening and who doesn't like my thoughts or comments on it. He had his career taken away by a tramp, and he's come back to claim what was his. And I cannot wait to see what Ched Evans is going to deliver this season. But anyway, let's go through then the results of the opening weekend's Championship. There wasn't really any shockers. Everything kind of went the way that it was expected to go. Bristol City with a 3-1 victory over Barnsley. Burton Albion, they lost to Cardiff 1-0. Again, that's two that you expect them to go that way. Fulham and Norwich drew 1 apiece. Ipswich beat Birmingham, and I said that had a 0-0 written all over it, and I wasn't close. Preston, in probably what was the biggest shocker of the weekend, Preston defeating Moneybags Sheffield Wednesday 1-0. QPR with a 2-0 win over Reading. The mighty Sheffield United with a 1-0 victory over Brentford, which absolutely surprised me. I said we'd be lucky to get... I know I did predict a win, but in reality, I said we were lucky to get a draw, but we played fantastically. And if we can keep this going, then Middlesbrough tomorrow will be very interesting. That could be a reality check. Middlesbrough away, granted they lost to Wolves at the weekend, but I think Middlesbrough away will be a reality check. And if we can compete with them, then we've got every chance of being up there. And finally, on the Saturday games was the tea time kickoff of Villa and Hull, which finished 1 apiece. And then moving on to Sunday, you had, which was a cracking game. I don't know if you caught much of the game, Dave.
Yeah,
Bolton and Leeds. Quality game, 3-2. 3-2 to Leeds United. So
Leeds are looking dangerous, aren't they?
Opening weekend of the Championship, then what's your overall thoughts from a Premier League's fan's point of view?
I was impressed by it. Do you know what? I mean, to be honest, I don't normally check out the Championship, to be honest with you. But I mean, I think every year it grows in. Do you know what I mean? it gains a few more viewers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of just how many big teams there are in there now. It's basically, you might as well call it Premier League 2.
It is. Well, it's not just
You know?
just the size of the club in the name. It's the size of the bank balance they're coming down with.
There's a lot of money now to be won in that championship, which obviously means the football in general is just, it's better. It's better. It's stronger. There's a lot more fight. You know what I mean? There's a lot more grit, determination. The Premier League could fucking learn a lot from this, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Just the sheer, do you know what I mean? How much people want it.
Well, some of the attendances, some of the opening weekend attendances, but we had 26, and you're having big numbers. Like, I mean, you've got teams like, well, just look at the home teams that have played in this last weekend. You've got QPR, you've got Sheffield United, you've got Wolves, you've got Villa, you've got Ipswich, Fulham. All them teams have got A, they're all ex-Premier League, and B, they're all in grounds of 15, 16 plus.
Yeah.
Where in the Premier League, you've got your Bournemouths of the world, who their ground is what, 11,000 when it's full.
Yeah.
So it's just but it proves that well, I think Bournemouths, they're an absolute enigma. What Eddie Howe's done with Bournemouth over the years, but with your Championship clubs, of your Fulhams, do you know what I mean? Your Fulhams and your Leedsers, they're two that for the past however many years, well, especially Fulham since they got relegated from the Premier League, have always been spending money. 10 million here, 11 million here, 5, 6, 7 million here.
They've always had a good, but it's all, for me, it's always been a case of who's been managing them. I like this Slavici Ivanovic. Is it Jukanovic? It's Jukanovic, isn't it? Yeah. I like him. I think he was hard done by at Watford. When he was at Watford, he got Watford promoted, didn't he? And then obviously all of a sudden it kind of went tits up for him. But I think he's going to do good shit at Fulham. I do. I like the drive behind Fulham. It's just a case of, you look at how many other teams there. They're just the money. Sheffield Wednesday got money. Yeah. Wolves got money. Middlesbrough got money. Hull got money. Aston Villa got money. There's so much money. You know what I mean? In the Championship, and let's be honest, many years go back 5 years, there wasn't that type of money.
No, not all. Not like
a Championship player now, really, from a realistic stance. If Fulham were going to sell Ryan Sessegnon tomorrow, they would now, because he now has signed a contract with Fulham, they would be wanting at least 30 plus million.
Oh, 100%.
It isn't good. It isn't. But at the end of the day, it's business now. It's not football.
Exactly. And speaking of more football than business, obviously we're recording this on Friday. This evening it starts with Arsenal and Leicester. Finally, the return of the Premier League.
Oh.
So we might as well take a quick look at the fixtures that we've got coming up. Obviously today we've got Leicester and Arsenal that kicks things off at 7:45. That should be a cracking game. Obviously Leicester, they've spent how you'd expect Leicester to spend, bringing people like Harry Maguire in. And Arsenal, again, they've done exactly the same that they do every single year. Well, they have done for the last 3 years. Spend a shitload of money on one player and bring in a couple of others that go under the radar.
It's so predictable in the Arsenal.
Yeah, but
to me, it's. I've always said this about Arsenal. You don't need to worry about Arsenal's pockets.
Well, they've got more money than anybody.
They never spend anything, and they have. They're debt free. They're debt free.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They the two main guys, Stan Kroenke and Usmanov.
Yeah.
They're rich as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, especially Kroenke. Kroenke's fucking loaded.
Do you know what I mean? You're talking about a team that could be a powerhouse in the world of football.
Oh, they could be. But the thing is with Arsenal, they didn't want, when they built the new stadium in 2006, they didn't want to spend for the next couple of years because they wanted to balance the books on the stadium. Yeah. Which is fair enough, which is proper business sense. So, I mean, you can't fault the business sense there. But the stadium was paid off in like 2010.
Yeah.
And they've gone 7-8 years. But granted, the last 2 or 3 years, Wenger has realised that to compete to an extent, they do have to dip their toe. And they did with your 40 million for your Ozil, your 40 million for your Sanchez, your 40 million for your Lacazette, your 40 million and a penny bid for Suarez. Do you know what I mean? So he has realised the last couple of years that he does need to spend, but he's not even close to spending what the money he's got available.
No,
I mean, if you've got a club that come in the summer and they're giving, look at Jose Mourinho, since he joined Man U, we spent about 300 million.
Yeah.
Right? Arsene Wenger has probably struggled to spend 500 million in the 20 years he's been at Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
No, I do know what you mean. Yeah, I know.
Compare that to the money they've brought in over the years. They've got so much... Like, Arsenal are charging...
it's ridiculous.
Arsenal are charging £1,000 per season ticket.
Yeah.
£1,000 per season ticket. They've sold your Nasris, your Fabregases, your Van Persies, your Henrys, everyone over the years. The amount of fucking dollar they've made income compared to what they've spent outgoings, they must be.
Yeah, but it's ludicrous, isn't it? It's ludicrous when you look at what they've sold and the caliber of player they've sold and what they've replaced them with.
Yeah.
I mean, they sell Fabregas. And I know a lot of people freaking blow up about Fabregas. Personally, when Gerrard went from Liverpool, I was screaming, sign fucking Fabregas.
Yeah.
26 million. 26 million. You see what I mean? He went to Chelsea for 26 million for a player of that caliber.
Yeah.
And where we lack now is in the centre of midfield. Fabregas would have been fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm looking at the caliber. They brought in that lad from Bal, El Mini.
Yeah.
He's shite.
Yeah.
They went and bought that lad from the Swiss lad. What's his name?
Mustafi. Yeah, I don't rate him. Shokran Mustafi or whatever. I don't rate him.
What's that other guy? Freaking Granit Xhaka.
Xhaka, yeah.
He's shit and all.
Yeah. Well, look at the defence, right? They fell very, very lucky with Hector Bellerin. I think Hector Bellerin's one of the best fullbacks in the world. But look at the other side when they've got Nacho Monreal. He's fucking shite.
Yeah, I know.
He's shite. But they've not. That's the thing. Arsenal, because they refuse
they grind,
to spend,
don't they?
They refuse to spend. Arsene Wenger's always had a policy where I'd rather get a youngster in from nobody of nowhere, develop him into a talent, have him for 3 or 4 years, sell him to a world-class team. And that's the mentality of Arsene Wenger, but that doesn't bring you success, and you can understand the frustrations. Like, I always watch that Arsenal fan TV because I think it's fucking hilarious. But you can understand the frustrations of Arsenal are a big, big, big club.
Oh, they're massive.
But at the minute they're not. Like, you look at, for me, an Arsenal these days, I'd compare them to an Everton of the world, where they're up there. But
I would say that's a fair assumption.
Yeah,
I would say that's a fair assumption. I mean, to me,
they'll never win title again.
I mean, I look at them and I remember that great Arsenal side. You know what I mean? Of your Vieira, your Petit, your Overmars, your Bergkamp, and I look at this now, what they've got, and I'm thinking, my God, what's happened? Like, and I know obviously legends and great players retire, but when you talk about the caliber and the amount of money they have got, you got to question: do they want to go back there? Do you know what I mean? Are they going to continue to buy all this mediocre? Because to me, I think the weakness in Arsenal isn't. I think it's the manager.
It is, because he doesn't have an eye for talent.
He's lost that eye, isn't he? He's lost that eye. He used to have it.
Look at Lucas Perez. Had an half-decent season at Deportivo.
Yeah.
Arsenal bring him in. He does fuck all at Arsenal because he A, wasn't given a real opportunity, and B, he wasn't that good. And now he's going back to Deportivo.
Yeah.
They took his number 9 off. I think you've nailed on it there. He had an eye for talent, but the key word there being had. Do you know what I mean? He picked up little Patrick Vieira and brought him to Premier League. He picked up players that people had never fucking heard of, right? Like Gilberto, right? And turned him round into being one of the most dominant centre midfielders that Arsenal's ever had. Like, people always talk about your Vieiras and your Fabregases of that era. But for me, Gilberto Silva was fucking solid. Him and Vieira in centre mid. You ain't getting past
Edu
that.
was another good player and all.
Yes. Well, they had Freddie Youngberg, one of my favourite wingers that I've ever seen play. Freddie Youngberg, he'd run up and down that wing all day long with the biggest smile on his face.
You look at Anelka.
Nicholas Anelka, Lissulk. Miserable bastard, but
no one had ever heard of him before freaking Wenger picked him up.
Exactly. But Wenger, because he's had so much success over the past with this, that he still carries this on, and it's like his blueprint...
He still tries to.
Yeah, his blueprint just doesn't work anymore because...
No, it doesn't.
Because the scouting process of clubs have evolved over the past 20 years. Just the whole network. There is players that are getting looked at now that we don't even know your club's looking at them. Where back in the day, Wenger was like fucking 10 years ahead of everybody with his scouting network. I think it helped Wenger being like working in places like Japan and stuff like that, and France lower leagues. He had an eye for this talent that no one had really, because if you think, when he took over at Arsenal, Sky Sports was just becoming a thing. So I mean, there was no internet, there was no information, was what you read on the back pages of a newspaper or in a football programme. It was
Yeah.
Arsene
No,
Wenger.
you're right.
Arsene Wenger had this eye for this talent where look at Football Manager. I honestly do believe that Football Manager has changed the world when it comes to scouting. Look at Freddie Adu. Freddie Adu back in the early 2000s.
Oh, fucking, he was at DC United, wasn't he?
Yes.
Was it DC United? And then he was scouted by United.
Scouted by Man United, scouted by, I think, Juventus, Benfica. And then it comes out, he's now in his fucking early 30s playing 7th division football somewhere. Just because Football Manager said he were good, don't mean he's good. But...
Yeah. Well, it was like Liverpool. It was like Liverpool back in the 90s, man. Gerard Houllier tried to do exactly the same thing as... Wenger was doing by bringing these young French kids in, French lads, Latalik came in, Cinema Pongol came in, then we brought Bruno Cheroux. In all honesty, Pongol wasn't a bad little player.
Pongol went on to have a decent career. Player. Didn't he go to Spain and they were banging him in for fun over there?
But none of these players showed their promise that what they did back in like under 21 tournaments and stuff like that. Bruno Cheroux, you watched him for like freaking, for Auxerre. And was it Auxerre we got him from? I don't think it was. Bruno Cheroux, I think we signed from Lille. It was his brother Ben.
Lille, yeah. Yes.
It was his brother Benoit Cheroux, who played for Marseille. That's just a way of just looking, obviously, where Wenger differed, and it's like this market of youth that he bought, and no one really could touch him, really. No. But enough about that. I want to talk about what's coming tomorrow and tonight and tomorrow and tonight.
So let's just finish on tonight then. So tonight, Arsenal-Leicester, which way do you think it's going?
I see Arsenal. Yeah. Arsenal trounced them, I think.
I think 2 or 3. I think 2 or 3-0, or maybe Leicester will nick one. Maybe 2 or 3-1. But tomorrow, so the first game of the Premier League calendar tomorrow is our lunchtime kickoff on Sky Sports of Watford at home to Liverpool. Let's not spend too much time on this because I know who you're going to say who's going to win. But obviously we've touched on Liverpool in quite a lot of detail. But Watford, it seems like they're clinging on to the goals that Troy Deeney does to keep them up. And I think this season, Watford would have run their course. So I think this season Watford will struggle. But for me, away win definitely.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. To be honest with you, I just think it'll be an onslaught.
Yeah.
I mean, if pre-season was anything to go by, smashing Bayern the way we did, you know what I mean, with them, with obviously Mane and Salah. I really think this will be an onslaught.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go for a scoreline because like I said, I think it will be an absolute massacre.
Nice. Okay,
I can't see anyone holding Mane and Salah. I
especially
can't
not
see
Watford.
It.
Especially not Watford.
I half expect if them obviously talking of Coutinho, I actually think if that is true that he's handed in, I don't expect Coutinho to start tomorrow.
Well, they've said this morning he's not in the squad, but it's not down to the contract; it's down to an injury.
No.
Which is basically the club saying he's refusing to play.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll just plod along.
Yeah,
we'll plod along.
Chelsea at home to Burnley, which I think will be a massacre. I
go for the draw.
I think it'll be a 3 or 4. I think
go for the draw,
Chelsea are always pretty decent opening weekend. I think you've got players like Morata who have a lot to prove. It'll be very interesting to see if Diego Costa's in the squad. Very interesting. And I firmly believe I think that Conte is making a big mistake.
He's one I would take a punt on if I was Liverpool,
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Diego Costa.
He sounds like he's an absolute fucking nightmare to manage, but the kid knows where the back of the net is. And that's what
I would
it's all
take
about.
a chance on him.
So you reckon draw then for that?
Yeah.
Up next, making their debut in the Premier League is one Huddersfield Town, who are away in London at Crystal Palace. I'm
going to go for Huddersfield,
See, I'm going to go
Huddersfield
because I'm thinking Huddersfield because people already are writing them off.
It's not just that. I mean, I watched De Boer as a coach, and I don't like the way he sets up his team. To me, if you're going to play that old style of Dutch football, you've got to have the quality to back it up. And I'm not saying they haven't got the quality of Crystal Palace because
I don't think they have. No, I don't.
Players.
You take away Zaha and Benteke, and I think you're left with a middle of the road team.
I really thought they'd have pushed the signing of Sacco. I really do.
Well, it was like they were up for it, and then once like Liverpool started digging their heels, they were like, well, we're not even going to try. Fuck you, we'll move on.
You know, it's ridiculous what Liverpool are asking for that guy. 30 million quid?
Oh,
no.
Mental, innit? So we're both saying away win with Huddersfield. Everton at home to Stoke.
Everton.
2-2 draw.
I'm going to go for Everton. I'm going to go for Everton.
That's a score draw. Southampton at home to Swansea.
I'm going to go Swansea.
I'm unsure. I think that my uncertainty with Southampton, I'd never bet against Southampton at home. Never in a million years. But I don't know how much uncertainty this whole Virgil van Dijk thing's having impact on the team. Because it's one of them that he just refuses to go away. Newspapers love reporting on shit that just won't go away. And every day it's another story of, Liverpool going to be back in, Southampton are now this, Liverpool are this. It's like, sell him or don't sell him, fucking simple as.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again,
the thing with me, like, if I can start on that, the thing with me that gets me with this whole Van Dijk thing, right, is if Liverpool were guilty of tapping up, then all right, we were guilty. But in my opinion is what my opinion is on is all we did was declare an interest. Yeah. All we did is declare an interest. If that unsettled the player, then that shows the player's passion for wanting to play for another club.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. And then if Southampton say they want 70 million quid, you know,
yeah, but if you're Virgil van Dijk, right? If you're Virgil van Dijk, and am I right? Am I right when I say that they signed him from Southampton?
Yeah.
So you leave Celtic, right? And let's be serious. Who wants to play in Scotland? If you're a good footballer, you don't want to play in Scotland. No. So he's seen the move as to Premier League as, and I can guarantee he's looked at Southampton as a stepping stone to a bigger club. Because he's gone from Scotland, so it's like basically going from Championship level football to Premier League level football, but then to Champions League level football. You got to remember,
even though he was playing in Celtic, he was still playing Champions League football. So he's going from playing Champions League football, not at a decent level. Do you know what I mean? Granted, but he's going from playing against teams like Barcelona, and he's signing for Southampton.
Yeah.
And he's not getting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's not many clubs. There's not many of your big clubs. Let's say your top 6 in England, who will buy a player directly from a Scottish club unless they are something fucking worldy. And Van Dijk is good, but I don't think he's quite there yet to be seen and put in the quota of best defenders in the world. But that's because he needs to now showcasing his talents at one of the best clubs in the league.
Somewhere else. Yeah. Exactly. Right, so I still think they'll sign him. In
what I think will be the score draw of the weekend, West Brom at home to Bournemouth.
I'm going to go Bournemouth. I'm going to go Bournemouth 3-0.
This will be, for me, this will have the most goals out of all the games. I'm thinking this will be like a 3-3 or something like that. I'm feeling it, that game. That's my Super 6 prediction.
Is going to start the season. Really.
And finally, on Saturday in the Premier League, also making their debut in the Premier League is one Brighton and Hove Albion at home to Manchester City. And I believe this will be a shock.
Do you know what?
1-0 Brighton.
I've got money on it. I've gone, you know what? Brighton.
1-0 Brighton. 1-0 Brighton. And let's quickly, as we touched on it last week, let's quickly run through the Championship fixtures. Same as last week, home win, away win or draw. Barnsley and Ipswich.
Away.
Birmingham and Bristol, see?
Away.
Brentford Forest.
Away.
Cardiff Villa.
Away.
Derby Wolves.
Away.
Hull City Burton.
Home.
Leeds United Preston.
Home.
Millwall Bolton.
Home.
Reading Fulham.
Ooh, that's a toughie. I'm looking for a draw.
Sheffield Wednesday QPR.
Draw. And
your tea time game, which is live on Sky Sports. Middlesbrough at home to Sheffield United.
I'm going to go away.
I hope to God.
I'm going to go. I am going to go away. I am going to go away.
I take a point.
I still think so. Middlesbrough's problem is their defence.
Yes, they do. We spoke about this last week. They've spent a lot of money on attack-minded players because their problem last season was lack of goals.
I just think Middlesbrough are going to concede too many goals.
I mean, well, hopefully.
I think they'll concede too many.
So I think before we do wrap things up for another edition, this is, as we touched on majority of the episode, the first weekend of the Premier League. When we're sat here having this conversation next week, Dave, what are you hoping to have seen and got out of the opening weekend of the Premier League? Not just your club, just Premier League in general. For me, I want to see goals, goals and goals. I'm a big fan of goals. I don't want to see no nil-nils. I want to watch Match at Day tomorrow night, an extended programme because of that many goals.
That's exactly what I'm looking for, to be honest with you. I just want that iconic music.
Yeah.
I've got me peanuts, I've got me beer, and I've got me remote control. And I just want to see goals.
That's it.
I want to see Liverpool on the game of the day, winning 5-0 with no Coutinho playing, so I can honestly say, there you go, we don't fucking need him.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Again, to touch on briefly, that's how fickle all football fans, me and you probably included, where if Liverpool play tomorrow without Coutinho and lose, that's it then. You'll have 90% of these Liverpool fans who just like to argue. We're like, see, this is what happens if we lose Coutinho. We're going to get relegated.
Well, you're going to get that. It's going to have one of them. It's going to have one of them appeals. I know that I've got a backing with a bunch of people. You know what I mean? That agree with me from a stance that this lad, he's a good player, granted, but we're a fantastic fucking club.
Yeah.
And we're gonna we've got kids there in the reserves. Do you know what I mean? If we stand to gain 100 million, just take the money. If it can be invested in someone, go and invest it.
That's it. Just take the money. At the end of the day, if the player doesn't want to play, there is no point keeping him there just because
don't risk the morale.
Exactly.
Don't risk the morale. We've got a new season coming up. We want to play 38 freaking games of Premier League football, and we want to be there at the end. If you've got one bad egg in your club, mind you, we've got two bad eggs. We've got Sacco there as well. You need to get rid of this before you start.
And like we spoke about with Sacco would be gone if they weren't asking for a fucking astronomical fee.
£30 million. Are you freaking laughing, man? The way I see it, right, when you're a club that takes a stance, and you say that this player is no longer in my plans, who are you to determine what his fee is? Exactly. That's my opinion. You choose not to play that player. When that player is playing for you, whether it's full first team football or squad rotation, right? You then can declare what sort of fee you want for that player. You know what I mean? But when you choose to say that this player, I no longer in my plans, I don't want him here, you know what I mean? You can't turn around and say, I want this amount of money for him.
No. You let him go for a free. You write it off and just say, fuck off
do you know what I mean?
Club.
That's what I'm saying. But you risk losing him for nothing.
Yeah, but what are you risking though? Because if he's not a part of your plans.
Do you know what I mean?
There's no risk at all. He's not part of your plans.
And this is what I said. This is what I said. The Sacco situation is a case of no one comes in for him, and then what you get is in the last 2 or 3 days of the transfer window, you get a cheeky bid from someone like West Brom,
and you get rid of him.
15 million quid.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what's going to happen. I personally thought Benitez would have come in for him.
But anyway, I think we should wrap it up there and then for another episode of Not Another Football Podcast. I think, Dave, if you want to just let everybody know where they can always find us on social media, posting shite all the time.
Posting shite. We love to post shite.
Oh, yeah.
And we encourage everyone else to post shite.
Post shite and tag us in it.
At NAF Podcast. Yes, that's at NAF Podcast. You know why? Because it is NAF.
As we say always in the comments, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, or on the YouTube page, drop in anything you'd like us to speak about that we've not spoke about. Let us know if you'd like to hear our opinions. I know our opinions probably count for fuck all, but if you'd like to hear our opinions, if you enjoy listening to us, let us know, and we'll have a week where we'll talk about the stuff that you guys want to talk to about. But as we said, we will wrap it up this week. So next week we will obviously take a look at what we've discussed. So we'll do a review of the opening week of the Premier League, and we will touch on all the other major leagues in Europe, because this weekend and next weekend, near enough, everybody's kicking off. I think we've got France and Holland kicking off this week. I think next weekend the Italians and the Spaniards start. I think next week
Neymar makes his debut and then does his cruise sharing.
That'd be amazing. Out for 18 months. But I think we'll leave it as that. So if you're a Paris Saint-Germain fan and you are listening to this and you are going to the game tomorrow, I hope to God Neymar survives 90 minutes, because if not, my God, that's going to be an expensive 90 minutes. But we will leave it there. So from one Dave and another,
Double D out.